let's run through the basics of quilling. First up, we have our quilling paper. Now this comes in lots of different colors in these beautiful strips, and they'll all be joined together at both ends. And then as you need some, you just gently pull your strip from the package. Then we have the quilling tool. So the tool has this long end, which is where you will hold on to, and then this top end you should be able to see has a split down the middle. Now this will be important for holding your paper in place when you start rolling it. So quilling is the art of rolling paper and then creating different shapes and using them together to create an artwork. We will also be using glue for our quilling to glue our rolled pieces in place, and skewers are also very handy. First, I want to show you how to do a basic roll with your quilling tool. So, take a coloured strip of paper and you want to insert it into the split at the end of the quilling tool. Gently fold that around with your finger and hold in place. Then begin to turn the quilling tool with your other hand, pinching the paper with your thumb and forefinger, rolling it at the end of the quilling tool. So keep rolling that paper until it reaches the end, trying to keep it nice and tight. And then once you're done, gently, that can happen also. So start again, into the slot, bend the end around, pinch and twist, nice and tight, and then gently wriggle that off the end. So there you have a rolled piece of paper. Now what happens when you let that go is it unravels a little bit. Now this is good for creating free-form quilling. So to hold this circle in shape, we need to add a tiny amount of glue to this end and stick it in place. So what I like to do is use a skewer. Just dip it in the glue. Add a small amount to the end and gently glue that paper in place. And there's our first little round circle piece. Now what you can do at this stage is gently bend it into shapes. So if you want to create an eye, you just bend it at either end there. But you can also use a quilling board, which is what I'll take you through now. So a quilling board, as you can see, has a lot of different shapes and different size shapes on it. And what we do is once we've rolled our piece of paper, we can pop it into these shapes and kind of move it around so that it spreads out and creates say a triangle or a love heart. So let's roll a bit of paper. Gently pull that off the end. Carefully pop it onto the board and let it spread out. Here's another good use for your skewer. You help adjust that paper to spread it out within the hole, just to get that shape nice. So once you've got your shape, I like to leave it in there for a little bit, just to give it some time to stick in that shape. And then we want to gently pull it out, holding on to it so it doesn't lose that shape, and then we just need to glue down that end flap of paper. So we get some glue on our skewer, dab it on, and fold that down. If you feel like it's jumping out of that shape, you can leave it in there for a bit. If you wanted to use one of these bigger shapes, it's good to join a couple of your strips of paper together before you roll it on your quilling tool. So again, it's very simple to do. Just add a small amount of glue with your skewer. Glue one end of paper to the other. And then we quill from there. So into the slot, pinch and roll. Gently pull that off the end, and then we'll pop it into a shape on the board and let it unroll. Grab our skewer to give it a bit of a helping hand. Now it can be a bit tricky with these other shapes, so just use your skewer to help move that paper around and wiggle it into those corners. Quilling gives a really great effect. It can be a bit fiddly, so be sure to take your time so that your artwork comes out beautifully. As I mentioned, to begin with, you can freeform your shapes, so if this is a bit too difficult for you, you can just roll your shapes and use your fingers to pinch them into the desired shapes. It does like to pop out. You can also join different colours together. Or you can join 3 or more colours together. To create much bigger coils. Again, we just pop it in our shape, let it unravel, and then use our skewer to help move the paper into, if your roll does explode like that, you can hold it between your thumb and finger gently and then pull the end, and that should bring it back in, and you can gently by hand get that wrapped back up. To fit back into that shape and start again. There's a real art form to quilling, so practice makes perfect. It is quite fiddly, so you just need to persevere. And everyone's artwork comes out differently. So we'll just glue this guy. And this one. And that's how you make your shapes. There is another great thing on the quilling board that you can use. It's these pinholes up the top here. So if you've got some pins at home, all you need to do is pop them in. Now the different levels just mean you can make different sized versions of these. I'll show you on the largest one so it's easier to see. So you'll need a longer strip of paper for this one. So we'll join two pieces together, bit of glue with the skewer, join it together. And what we want to do is start with one end of the paper, start at this bottom pin here, and we're going to loop the paper around and up to the pin directly above it at the top here. Now before we go any further, we just want to glue this end piece into place. So a bit of glue on the skewer. And press that to hold it in. Now we continue wrapping So we take the paper around up to the pin next to the center pin that we've just wrapped around, loop it over, bring it back down to the bottom. And what we want to do here is add a little bit of glue to the base here. So when we bring the paper around, it's going to stick at the base there. And now we bring it back up to the pin next to the middle pin on the other side, loop it round, back down, add a little bit of glue to the bottom, pull it round, and then we loop around on the opposite side again. So we just keep doing this pattern until we reach the end. And if you find you've run out of paper, you can just quickly glue another strip in place and continue on. And once you've looped around all of your pins, we want to take the paper and wrap right around the outside, so that'll encase these beautiful petal-like pieces so that it all holds together. So we'll take the glue and this time run little bits along the top of the paper. And then pull that strip over the top of the pins, down the other side, just add some more glue so that it's fully wrapped. Then you can just cut or just tear that extra paper off, pull your pins out, and you have a beautiful petal shape. So you could go around and make many more of those. Then you could pop one of your circles in the middle to create a flower. Or look, just like that, just like a bow tie. So once you've got all your pieces, you can arrange them in any way you like. You could trace your hand and then arrange the pieces inside the hand to create a really cool artwork. Like this artwork here, it creates this really cool effect. So you can see there's some really tightly rolled quilled paper in here. You've got your triangles, your circles, some teardrops. You can just really experiment and see what you can come up with.